So let's go on to the next page. So let's go on to page 10. All right. So up next, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and find the probability when we're not given a z value. We're actually given a x, and we're given an average and a standard deviation. So I'm gonna show you two ways how to do it. It kind of depends on you on how you want to solve it. If you like to do, well, it kind of depends on which one do you like, which one do you not like. But if you kind of look at this drawing, so this is a drawing where we're given a mu and we're given an x. So if you want to convert this to a z-score, where your standard deviation automatically becomes 0, and well, sorry, when your mean becomes 0 and your standard deviation automatically become 1, we're going to have to use this formula in order to convert it into a standardized data set. So here are some steps that we're going to want to do. So first we're going to draw a normal curve and shade the desired area. We're going to convert the value from an x value to a z-score. And then what we're going to do, we're actually going to skip step 3 and we're going to go all the way to step 4 where we do find the area under the standard normal curve. So we're going to do step 1, step 2, and then skip to step 4. So this is just kind of preparing us for when we don't know the z value, how to convert any x value to a z value, and then find the area using that z value that we find. So let's go ahead and do this next example. Okay. So if you look at the next example, pretty straightforward. They're telling us mu is equal to 35, sigma is equal to 5. So what we want to do, we want to find the following probability. So for this one, it says x is greater than or equal to 37. So that means x is equal to 37. Any question on how we got x is equal to 37? All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and draw this. So for this one, if you look at it, they gave us x. Oh, we'll put they gave us x, not z. So since they gave us x and not z, that means we have to use the mean and we have to use the standard deviation. So our mean in this case is 35. So you put 35 in the middle. So that's the mean. Then what you want to do, you want to put your x value. So in this case, our x value is 37. So if you look at this, this is pretty much a number line. So go from lowest to highest. So if I have 37, 37 is bigger than 35. So that means the 37 should be on the right side of 35. Then if you look at this symbol right here, it's telling me greater than. So that means I shade the right side. Any question so far? I got 35 and then the 37 for that blue bar. All right, perfect. So let's convert this into a z value. So first we want to find x. So x is equal to 37. Then we want to subtract it from the mean. The mean we found it to be 35. And then standard deviation is equal to 5. So you do 37 minus 35 divided by 5. So if I do 37 minus 35, you get 2 divided by 5. 2 divided by 5 is 0.40. Or you could say 0.4. Any question in regard how I got to 0.4? So if you look now I know the z value. So once I find the z value, now my mean automatically becomes 0. Standard deviation automatically become 1. Once you find the z-score, it's automatically telling you mean is 0, sigma is 1, because once you find the z-score, it standardized the data. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this out again, but now with the z value. So here goes 0. Here go 0.40. You still want to find the right-hand side. So now we're going to go ahead and find the probability of this blue area. So to find the probability of that blue area, we're going to use Class-Cal. So we're going to say, oh, let me first get Class-Cal. Let me erase this. Let me erase this. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go where it says stats. We're going to go distribution. We're going to go normal distribution. We're telling the mean is 0. Standard deviation is 1. In this case, since I want to find the probability, we're going to use CDF. So I'm going to press CDF. And this is where it's important that you look at that blue drawing that I have at the end, and you have to look at the lower bound, the upper bound. So the lower bound, the lowest part I shaded for the z-score, what was the lowest part that I shaded for the z-score? Cool, thanks, Daniel. So 0.40. And if you look at it, I shaded the entire right-hand side, so technically keep on going to infinity. So the area that we get is 0.3445 or 0.3446. 0.3446. And that's your answer. So our final answer for this would be 0.3446. And that's how you get the probability when you don't know the z-score, but you can always just go ahead and find the z-score. Any question for that first problem?
How's the standard deviation 1?
Okay. So if you remember from the last problem, like once you find the z-score, or once you know you have the z-score, your mean and your standard deviation automatically become well, your mean becomes 0, your standard deviation become 1. So once I found this, I automatically know my mean is 0 and standard deviation is 1. So if I didn't find the z-score, my mean is still 35, standard deviation is still 5. But as soon as you find the z-score, your mean and your standard deviation automatically become 0 and 1. All right, and for Brianna, the 0.3446, that represents the probability of this occurring. So when we find this is the probability of this event occurring. So that's it for that first one. Any question in regard to that first one? All right. So let's do the second one. So if you look at the second one is exactly the same thing. The reason why it's exactly the same thing, because I'm going to show you a different way how to do it from this one. Yeah. So we're using the same drawing. But the only thing different, we're not going to find the z-score for this one. For this one, we're actually going to go straight into the answer. All right, in a little bit, I'll show you how to do it with the calculator. So you give me a minute. So from this portion, we can actually get the answer just by knowing that the mean is 35, standard deviation is 5, and that we want it to be greater than or equal to 37. So here's everything that we need to know. So first thing we need to know the mean, standard deviation, lower bound, and what's my upper bound. So for this problem, what do they tell us our standard deviation is? Well, sorry, what do they tell us the mean is?
35.
Cool, 35. So put 35 here. What about standard deviation?
5.
What about lower bound? What will be the lower bound from this drawing?
35?
Well, what the lowest number I have?
37. Oh, right. The shaded part, 37.
And what the highest number that I have shaded?
Positive infinity.
Positive infinity. All right. Everybody good with that so far? 35 for my mean. Standard deviation is 5. Lower bound 37. Upper bound is infinity. If you're using a TI 83 or 84 instead of infinity, since your calculator doesn't have one, you're going to use 10 to the 10 power. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So the lower bound is 37 because that's the lowest number that's shaded in blue. But if you look at it, you're looking at this. This is your lower bound. That's the lowest value that gets shaded. So that why it's 37. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and transition on to class Cal. So on class count, what we have to do, we have to adjust the mean of the standard deviation, because now we're not saying the mean and standard deviation is 0 and 1. We're saying the mean and standard deviation is going to be 35 and 5. So instead of putting mean of 0, we'll put 35. Instead of putting standard deviation on 1, we're going to put 5. So now my lower bound will now be 37. And your upper bound will be positive infinity. And if you look at the answer that it gave us, well, it should have given you exactly the same thing. You'll get 0.3446. So it doesn't really matter which way you do it. If you want to do it when you convert the x value to a z value, and then once you convert it to a z value, you find the probability of that. Or what you can also do, just pretty much you put the mean, the new mean and the new standard deviation from 0 to 1 to whatever it is. In our case, it's 35 and 5. And then you make sure you put the lower and the upper bound is correct. All right, so that's the second way you could do it. So the second way is a lot shorter and less math. Any question in regard to how to do that in class calc? All right, so I'm going to show how you do it for the TI 83 or 84. So for the TI 83, what you want to do, you go to on. You want to hit second. You want to hit VARS. All right, in case I did it too fast, let me do it again for you. So you go to second, VARS. And if you look right here, you can put normal CDF. So if you look at it, they're asking me for the lower bound. So our lower bound, we said was 37. So we'll put 37. The upper bound is infinity, but if you remember, I told you that your calculator doesn't have infinity. So you use 10 to the 10 power. The mean we said was 35. Oops. And our standard deviation is equal to 5. You go to paste, and you get exactly the same answer. You get 0.3445, but pretty much the 7 round up to 5 to a 6. And that's how you do it with the TI-83 or 84. Any question in regard to that? Okay. So let's try doing more problems. So I'm going to do this last one, and then you're going to try to do the next two. So for this one, say find the probability that x is less than 24. Yeah, so you still found the probability without getting the z-score. It's not absolutely necessary that you get the z-score. You can find the probability without the z-score. So let's go ahead and draw this out. All right, so the middle should be 35 because that's our average. If you look at this 24, 24 is smaller than 35, so you want to put it to the left of it. So if you look at the symbol is saying less than. So since it's saying less than, which side should I shade? Should I shade to the left of 24 or should I shade to the right of 24?
Left of 24.
Cool, thanks, Kimberly. All right, so I'm pretty sure you don't want to find the z-score. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna go ahead and find what mu is, what sigma is, what the lower bound is, and what will be the upper bound. So for this problem, what's my mu?
35.
35, so we put 35 here. What's my standard deviation?
5.
Perfect. What's the lower bound?
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity. And for you who have TI-83 or 84, you want to put negative 10 to the 10 power. And lastly, what would be my upper bound?
24.
Yeah, 24. All right. Everybody good on so far my mu, my sigma, my lower bound, my upper bound? Okay, so right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to transition over to ClassCalc for how that way I could enter. I'll also show you how to do it in what you call it in the TI-83 or 84. For that way you don't feel left out. Okay, so I'm going to use the same thing. So if you notice, my mean and my standard deviation already there is already 35 and already 5. But if you look at it, it doesn't have the negative infinity anymore. But if you just clear this, it will automatically regenerate the negative infinity. So then what I want to do, you put my upper bound is 24. And if you look at it, we get the probability that x is less than 24 is equal to 0.0139. And that's it for how to do it with ClassCalc. Any question on how I did it with ClassCalc? And the good thing about ClassCalc, it should always give you a drawing right here. If you press right here to zoom in on it. And if you look at this drawing, and if you look at the drawing that we drew, it should look pretty similar to each other. So say like you draw it and you shade the right-hand side, and then you do it in ClassCalc and the ClassCalc shaded the left side. Well, you know somebody is wrong because like this is shading the left side, you're shading the right side. So there's something wrong with that. All right, so let me transition over to the TI-83 or 84 so that I can show you how to do the TI-83 or 84. So you go right here, which is stats. Oh, sorry. Quit that. So you go right here second, and you go right here to bars. And you want to do normal CDF. So for normal CDF, my lower bound we said was negative infinity. So you put negative 10 to the 10 power. Anytime you want to do a negative, you use this button. You don't want to use this button because it will give you an error. So always use this button below the 3, not the one above the plus sign. Upper bound should be 24. Oops, 24. Your standard deviation and sigma should stay the same. You press enter, and if you look at it, you get exactly the same answer that I got in ClassCalc. So you can use ClassCalc, you can have the TI-83 or 84. Both of them should give me or give you the same answer. Any question for any of those problems? So what I want you to do, I want you to practice on those 2 prompts that says try. So try doing those 2 prompts. You get stuck, just message me. And I'll get to you as soon as possible. But try doing those prompts is exactly the same thing that we've been doing. So try using ClassCalc or using the TI-83 or 84, whichever one you're using.